Shabbat Shalom to everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome again to First Yahudin Messianic Temple here in Lake Placid, Florida. I am his servant, Maria Simpson, and thank you and welcome to our teachings today. And really the teaching, it is entitled, You Are Gods. You Are Gods. And this comes from the reading today, which is in Deuteronomy chapter 16. If all of you want to go there just for a second. Because it's called a parashat. Parashat means the reading, the Shabbat reading. And what that reading is you do a portion of the Torah, the 5 books of Moses. Then it has to coincide with the prophets. And then it has to coincide with the New Testament. Okay? So this is called, the reading today is called Shoftim, which means judges. Okay? So he appoints judges. So this is on Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 18 through 21, and it is written, judges and officers, okay, shall you make thee in all thy gates, which Yahweh your Elohim giveth thee throughout the tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgments. Deuteronomy chapter 16, I'm going to say verse 19. Thou shalt not wrest judgment, thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift for the gift to blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. In other words, you do not take a bribe. When you're a judge, you're not supposed to take a bribe. And you're supposed to measure like weights. Just because you know someone, it doesn't mean you're gonna do on their behalf. That's what he's saying. Verse 20. That which altogether just shall follow, that you may live and inherit the land which Yahweh Elohim giveth thee. Thou shalt not plant thee a grove of any tree near unto the altar of Yahweh, thy Elohim, which you shall make of thee. Neither shall you set up any image which Yahweh Elohim hateth. Now, this teaching today, or the reading today, is called Shoftim, which means judges. Now, before I go into the message, let me just bring you a little bit of something that happened in my life recently. Recently, I was asked by someone I know. My house is very disorganized. She's telling me this. And she said to me, can you please help me straighten the mess? The reason she asked me this is because I have started a business called Organize. I started my business already in organization, organizing kitchens and organizing closets and so on and so on. And these were my questions to her. Okay, because I asked her this question. I thought for a second and I replied to her. How determined are you to organize your home and your life? That's a very good question, don't you agree? Okay? How important organizing your life is important to you, and organizing your home. What are you willing to get rid of that is cluttering your home? See, these are very good questions, and really how she responded back, and the only thing she said to me, very important. This morning I said to one of the sisters, I said, how important is this teaching, is Shabbat to you? And she said to me, very important. Now, the message title today is called, You Are Gods. And let's see what that means. The Torah reading today begins with a commandment that the people of Israel should appoint judges, Shoftim, so that justice will be enforced throughout the promised land. Are you ready?
Amen.
Because the judge is coming.
Amen.
Remember that song that goes, here comes the judge, here comes the judge.
Here comes the judge.
What is the responsibility of a judge? Judges play many roles. They interpret laws. They read the evidence that's presented to them. They control how the hearings and the trials unfold in their courtrooms. But most important of all, judges are impartial and should be impartial decision makers in the pursuit of justice. Now, what is this message of judges and you are gods has to do with what I am bringing today? Well, see, everything we do here is a copy of what is in heaven. Because the word Elohim not only means El Shaddai, the all-powerful one, but also means the multiple ones. Really, Elohim means judge. The one that's coming in the tribulation is not the name Yahweh. Because Yahweh is love, is tender, is caring, and all this stuff. No. The one that's coming to judge the nations and judge his people is Elohim. And what are we going to do when we present our case, whether we are alive and we have to come before him, we get transformed, or we are dead and he now we're going to come in the presence of a judge. What do you do when you come in the presence of authority, of a judge? See, a judge, one of the main rules that a judge does is to bring order.
Amen.
Is to bring order. Amen. To bring order where? Number one, he brings order in the courtroom. Yes. But he gives and presents justice. For the land, for where you live, for the community, for the town, for the government. Now, what we just read in Deuteronomy, and the word Deuteronomy, okay, or in Hebrew is called Devarim. It means words. The word, it says here in Deuteronomy chapter 18 verse 8, 16 verse 18, it says, judges and officers shall you make thee in all thy gates, which Yahweh Elohim giveth thee throughout the tribes, and they shall judge the people with justice. And in Hebrew, it's called Sedek Tirof, which means justice. You shall pursue justice, that you thrive and occupy the land that Yahweh Elohim has given you. The word in Hebrew, Sedek, means righteousness. Yeshua, remember it says that the king of righteousness? Mm-hmm. Sedek. Melech, Sedek, which means the king of righteousness. Righteous means justice. The Hebrew word Sedek means righteousness or justice. And it's one of the attributes of Yahweh Elohim of Israel. Elohim is called Yahweh of righteousness, the righteous Elohim, or the righteous God, the righteous judge, and so on. Elohim's righteousness means that we are, who are created in his image, have a duty to exercise righteousness in our lives every single day. Now, before I continue in my message, this is titled, You Are Gods. But see, when it says that you are gods, literally does not mean that you are somebody that somebody should worship. Amen. Gods, really, in Hebrew, is Elohims. You are judges. Go with me to the book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse number 1. Now,
so when it means, okay, it's just so in our English we've misinterpreted it that
yes,
gods means
yes.
judges. So then the other word of what we think of like gods that you worship are Baals. Then.
Yes.
Okay.
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 Yes.
Okay.
When he says you are gods, what he was referring to is that you are judges. I have given you the world, and you shall bring my righteousness into the world, especially in your homes.
Bring righteousness into our home.
Yes.
We should.
Yes. Now, look at what it says on Psalms 82, verse number 1. Please follow along with me. I do have the King James Bible. Look at what it says. Verse 1. Elohim, and it's got really, it's capital letters. It says God. Huge. Okay? God, or Elohim, standeth in the congregations of the mighty. Really should say, on the mighty ones. He judges amongst the gods. Okay? The word gods there means judges. Verse 2. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? The word Selah there means think about this. Verse 3. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and to the needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Read them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Verse 6. I have said, look at what it says. Does yours says you are gods?
Yes.
Does it say you are gods?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
And all of you are children of the Most High. But you shall die like men and fall like the one of the princes. Arise, O Elohim, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all the nations. Let me go in deeper into verse 6. On verse 6 it says, I have said, you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. When we read this in English, we understand, like literally, it's an understanding of we are God like God. No.
Yeah.
No. God is translated in Hebrew Elohim. The word Elohim means gods, plural. Remember in the book of Genesis, let us make man in our image and our likeness. And God said, and Elohim said, let us make man in our image and our likeness, and let them have authority over all the earth. Remember that? Okay. The only one that gives judgment and justice is Elohim. He is the one that comes when we allow him to come into our lives. He makes us gods. Not gods that other people worship, but he makes us judges, especially over our homes.
Yeah.
And what a judge does brings order. Joshua said, for me and my house, what does he say? We will serve Yahweh. Okay? Now, Elohim presides, in other words, in verse number 1, and Elohim stood in the congregation of the mighty ones. He judges amongst the gods. Elohim resides in the great assembly of angels. He gives judgment amongst the gods. We're not talking here about Baals. We're not talking about false gods. We're not talking about somebody that you worship. That is not, because let me tell you, the only one you should worship is Yahweh Sabaoth, is God Almighty. The word gods refers to magistrate. It refers to judges and other people who hold position of authority and they rule. Calling a human being a magistrate, a god, indicates three things. Let me tell you what these three things are. Number 1, he has authority over other human beings, just like a real judge, just like police, just like authority, just like a king or a president. Okay? 2, the power he has as a civil authority is to be feared, which means reverent and respect. And number 3, he derives his power and authority from God Almighty, Elohim himself, who is pictured as judging the whole earth in verse 8.
Can you repeat?
Look at verse 8. Arise, O Elohim, judge the earth, for thou hast inherited all nations.
Could you repeat number 3, please?
I'm sorry?
Could you repeat number 3?
Number 3. He derives his power. This one that has, he says, you are God's. He derives his power and authority from God, from Elohim himself, who is the picture as judging the whole earth in verse 8 of Psalms 82 verse 8. Now, why do I say this? It is biblically. When Yahweh sent Moses to Pharaoh, Yahweh said to Moses, I will make you a god before Pharaoh. You want to see this?
Yes.
This, let's go to Exodus, Shemot, chapter 7, okay, Shemot, which is Exodus chapter 7,
Amen.
verse number 1.
Amen.
Now, this is when God, when Yahweh Sabaoth sent Moses to speak to Pharaoh, he says, I will make you a god before Pharaoh. And look at what it says on Exodus chapter 7 verse 1. And Yahweh said unto Moses, see, I have made you a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. You shall speak all that I command you, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land. So see, when he says that I will make you, Moses, and your brother, gods to Pharaoh, it wasn't speaking that he was going to make them literally a god. No, he was making, he was going to make them his judges,
Amen.
his magistrate, his messengers. Okay? This simply means that Moses, as the messenger of Elohim, was speaking Elohim's word and will therefore be Elohim's representative to the king, to Pharaoh. The Hebrew word Elohim is translated judges. And go right there in the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse number 6. Look at what it says. 21, 21, verse number 6. Then his master shall bring him into the judges. The word there, judges, means Elohims or gods. He shall also bring him to the door unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an oath, and he shall serve him forever. In other words, you're serving somebody for 7 years because you haven't had money, and now you're going to pay for 7 years, and you're going to work for them for 7 years, and when the 7 years are up, and you still want to work for them, and you want to, that's okay. But what's going to happen is I am going to pierce your ear, and you're going to be with them for the rest of your life. Is that what you want? That's really what. So really, he says here, you will be judges. You will be Elohims. Okay? Now, judges, gods, according to what the Bible says, you are gods. What judges bring is justice. The whole point of Psalms 82 is saying that Elohim has appointed men to position of authority in which they are considered as gods, judges among the people. They are to remember that even that they are representing Elohim in this world, they are mortals, and must eventually give an account to Elohim for how they use their authority. This is even speaking in a home. In a home, there is no place like home. In a home, there needs to be rules. In a home, there needs to be rules. Because when there's no rules in a home, there's no authority figure. There's no morals. There's no principles. Anything goes. There's chaos. And I'll get into that in a little bit. Now, the serpent lied to Eve when he said this statement. Your eyes will be open and you shall be like gods, knowing good and evil. Remember when he said this? Well, this was half truth. Their eyes were open, and you can do this, you can check this out anytime you want. Genesis chapter 3 verse 7, but they did not become like Elohim. Why is that? Because what happened there, the authority that Yahweh gave to Adam and Eve as gods, as judges, they gave this authority to the serpent. This is why Yeshua had to be crucified, and Yeshua had to be in hell for 3 days, 3 days and 3 nights, and go and get the keys back from Satan. The keys that Adam decided to give Hasatan. Because when Hasatan tempted Yeshua, he said, Hasatan, the devil said to Yeshua, if you are the son of Elohim, a judge, an authority figure. Okay? Look at this. You will take these rocks, make them into bread. And he says, and if you bow down to me, I will give you all the governments to rule over everything, because it has been given to me, and I give it to whoever I please. Now, the reason that the Hasatan, that the devil said this to Yeshua, is because really he did not know who he was. Hallelujah. Now, let's go back to the message. When there's order in your house, this is why he's made us Elohim. He has made us gods. He has made us judges. Not to rule like a tyrant, not to beat others and say, well, this is the way. No. In a home, a wife, a mother, a father, a husband, children, we all have different titles. In a home, there cannot be, everybody cannot rule. When you go into a courtroom, everyone does not rule in a courtroom. Whether you come in agreement with the judge or you don't come in agreement with the judge, there's got to be one judge. And then you got the bailiffs, and then you have the lawyers, and then you have the people that are there, then you have the whoever is the plaintiff, and whoever is the victim, and whoever's so everybody has their title, but in the courtroom there's only one judge. In a household, there's got to be an authority figure. There's got to be the head. Who is your authority figure in your household? Well, it's God. Okay, we understand that. But physically, is that man and that woman that lives in that house, are they walking with him? What are they teaching their children? Because he says, you are gods, you are what? Elohims. Is to bring what? To bring justice. See, we're constantly looking what's outside in the world, correct?
Yes.
And we're saying the world is a mess and people are out of control. But let's do a test right now. Why don't you go out of your house and put binoculars on and look inside your home? organized or disorganized is your home? And I really mean people that live in your house, your children, the husband, the wife. How organized or disorganized are they? Why do you look at what's outside of your house when your home is really your world? And what are you doing in that world that Yahweh has given you? How important is your home to you? Because reality is, there is no place like home. Do you agree with me? Amen. What you see in your home right now is what you have sown. And the harvest you're reaping is what you have sown. And see, the problem is not outside. The problem is inside. Constantly, I hear Christians saying, well, they took prayer out of school and they took the 10 Commandments, because the 10 Commandments really was they brought this to early in the morning, children would taught the 10 Commandments and prayer. And I have said to them, I understand this, but who took it out of your house? How often do you sit with your children and you pray and you bless the food that He has given you? How much do you read to your children about Psalms? Who has taken God out of your life? Why do we look what's outside and why don't we look what's inside? See, we want to fix everything in our life, but how can you fix what's out there when your life needs to be fixed in your own home? Because what? He says He made us gods. He made us Elohim. He made us judges. And the only thing a judge does besides interpreting the law, because he knows about the law, he has to have balances. In other words, he cannot be like this with some and no. Even measures. He brings order in the court. There must be order in the house. There is no place like home. A man reaps what he sows. There are natural consequences to our actions. The world operates under the law of cause and effect. There is no way around it. Every time we choose an action, we also choose a consequences of that action. What is it that is in your home that needs to be changed? What is it that needs to be order in your home? Because there's no place like home. What kind of order? What do you bring to your home so there can be principles and ethics? Can be love. Listen very carefully. Right now, in your home, you are reaping what you have sown in your home, what you have sown in your children, and what you have sown in your spouse. This principle works both positive and negative. The one who sows righteousness reaps sure rewards. Proverbs 11:18. See, the problem in homes is that we always want to give the responsibility to somebody else in the house. And that's why it's so chaotic today. What's happening in homes today, people are losing and they don't even know their right hand from their left hand, and they have forgotten priorities. What Yahweh teaches in the Bible is priorities of a family. Yahweh is the father of a family. He teaches the values of family values, of home values. Look at what it says on Proverbs chapter 11, verse number 18. 11:18. The wicked worketh a deceitful work, but to him that soweth righteousness shall be sure rewarded. This is in your home. And how can you change people outside? How can you change people in the church when look at your home? How is your home? Because the responsibility he has given you and the responsibility he has given me is our home first. And this is a priority that's really is not going anywhere, because how can you change what's out there when you haven't even worked for what's inside your home? How can that be? But whoever sows injustice shall reap calamity. Proverbs, right there, chapter 22, verse 8. Look at this. When there is no order in your home, there is calamity. He that soweth iniquity shall reap disaster. The word there is vanity. The rod of his anger shall fail. Now, in your home, a man builds the house. A woman makes the home. On earth, your home is either a heaven or it's an infernal down to hell. You make your home whatever you want it to be. If your home is going to be heaven, then you bring order. You bring righteousness. You bring love. You bring order. You'll be an Elohim. But if you want your home to be a hell, then let everybody do whatever they want. And how do you make your home, or some homes that is a hell, to bring heaven to them? You have to make a decision of really bringing principles, bringing order, bringing your children, your husband, your wife, everybody that's in a home in order. And how do you do this right now? Reading the Psalms, teaching your children, sitting down at the table when it's time to eat, not to be playing, texting, not to be in front of the TV and then let the TV watch you. When was the last time you prayed with your children? When was the last time that you told your children that it's important to give thanks to the Most High on everything you have? For you women out there, when was the last time that you gave praise to your husband on something he did good, even if it wasn't to your liking? Like, for example, you know that nobody will ever clean like you, but he's trying to help you. When was the last time you raised your husband? That you really gave him the praise of something he did? And to you men out there, when was the last time you said to your wife, you know what, there's nobody like you. Thank you for the food that you cook, even if it's salty. To your children, do you hug your children every day? Do you tell them I love you? How you change things in your house is by changing yourself. Because God did not give you the world. God gave you your home, your family. And if you don't take care of your family, how can you take care of the church?
Yeah. Amen.
This is a parable of sowing and reaping. Sowing and reaping is a metaphor for death and resurrection. Okay? What should be the order of priorities in our homes? You want to hear this?
Yes.
The reason it's so important that there's no place like home, and really we know this from Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz had no closure until she got home. She goes, "There's no place like home. I don't care what there's." And then follow the yellow brick road, and then she went and she saw the whatever, but it didn't feel like home. Something, but she was homesick. Are you homesick? Is your home the way it's supposed to be? Our family's job is to be sensitive and respond to the needs of our loved ones' needs and care of them. How can you care for the world and others when you don't care with what Yahweh has given you? First care for these, and then you can do that one. Because if you're not an example in your home, how can you be an example out there? You want world peace. Well, everybody wants world peace. But how much peace do you want in your home? What is a family? You want me to tell you what a family is? Let me write it down for you. Ready? Can you see this? This is so important because the Bible really starts with a marriage. And what does a marriage between a man and a woman does? It starts a family. What happened in the Garden of Eden? The Garden of Eden is Yahweh's home that Adam and Eve tried to bring this organization. And what happened to them? They were thrown out.
The original dysfunctional family.
The original dysfunctional family.
Wow.
Ready for this? What is a family? And by the way, in Hebrew, family is called
So that could
mishpacha.
could that be the cause?
What?
What you just said. Could that be the cause of all the issues that we get with the family today?
They're asking a question. Would that be a cause of what was happening in families today, which is called the first dysfunctional family in the Garden of Eden? I say the big amen and yes. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
What is a family? A family is a solid foundation. And see, if you take this, it's got the word found. You are born into a family that you never chose. You did not choose your mother, and you did not choose your father. You did not choose your grandparents, nor your aunts or sisters or brother, but they're yours. Okay? F is for foundation and means it's a fortress of protection. A means it's an assurance, which means it's an assurance, it's a pillar of support you need. We need our family. Why do you think that gangs support each other? Because they feel they're a family. And what does a family do? A family supports your need. And when a family does not support your need, that family is disorganized. And they are forgetting what their priorities are. What is M? M stands for the word mighty. Which means is that a family is very mighty because this is where you get your strength and your power. And what is I? I is for integrity. Integrity means when a family has integrity, they are proud, they are whole, and they are undivided. They're united. And what is L? This is the doozy one. It's called love. In a family, there's love. Even though they're dysfunctional, even though that, this one, and Rebecca or Susie Q or this one, sometimes, but when there's a problem, we look and we overcome our flaws. And we come and we help each other. And this, how we do this, is called love. This is the greatest thing in a family, because this is what unites a family, is love. Yeah. And what is Y? Amen. Y is for Yahweh, which is the head, okay? It's the head of the household. If God is not in your home, then think about it. Who do you think it is? If Yahweh, if God is not in your home, then who rules in your home? If God, Yahweh, does not rule in your family, then who rules in your family? I'm going to give it a question mark, and you can give it whatever you want. Because I'm not here to tell you what is it. You're the one that has to say, I want. Remember in the beginning that I said I knew somebody says, I want my home organized. And see, since I do organization, which I started recently, I not only organize homes, but I also organize lives through coaching. And also the word. Okay? Now, what skills do you need to be a judge? Along with being appointed to the position, judges to possess certain qualities that will help them serve fairly and honorably. These are some. They have reasoning skills. Judges might apply rules that sometimes people don't want, including when you want to place order in your house. Sometimes your children, people don't want rules. In our homes, there's something you cannot do in our home. And I'm talking about my husband and I. You cannot smoke in our home. It's a rule that my husband has put, and I go along with him. My cousin came, and this is a while back ago, he started smoking, and I started opening the doors, and it was really cold. This was in Chicago. And what happened, he goes, it seems to me that you don't want me to be here. I go, no, you're very rude. Because you should ask, do we allow you to smoke in our house? And you know what he says? I'm not coming to your home anymore. I said, I don't care. You know why? Because you don't respect our home. And if you don't respect our home, vete para la calle. Goodbye. Goodbye. Because rules are made to be followed and obeyed. And in your home, there has to be rules. I cannot go into your home, and I cannot just say, because I'm Maria, I am going to go into your kitchen, I'm going to open the refrigerator and do it as I please. I'm not going to go into sit in your sofa and put my feet up like I'm what? Who am I? I got to respect. See, this is the problem in homes today. There's no respect. Remember Dangerfield? You remember? He says, I get no respect.
Yeah.
When there's no respect for a mother, for a father, especially the head of the household. Right. When there's no respect for a man or a woman that is the main, the king and queen in their house, then there's chaos. We got to give credit where credit is due. Why do you want to change the world when you haven't even changed your home? Your home and your role as a husband and wife, or as a leader, or as the head of a household has been given to you. Your home is your world. Your children is your world. Your husband, your wife. A judge has to have listening skills. He has to make a decision. He has to have what is called reading comprehension. He has to have writing skills. And judges are impartial to decisions. Now, why do we need order in our homes? I'm going to tell you why. Because if you don't bring order in your home, how can you bring order to the body of Messiah? Because everything starts at home, not outside. Paul said to Timothy, because Timothy wanted to serve in the church. And we're going to go there in a little bit. And Paul said to Timothy, for if a man do not know how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of Elohim? 1 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. See, we all want to serve others, and especially in the body of Messiah.
1 Timothy.
But how can 1 Timothy chapter 3 starting at verse 1.
Amen.
How can we be given a position, like a lot of churches give position because they need pastors, and sometimes they do it, and sometimes some pastors, they don't have the experience, and that's okay, because you got to start somewhere, and I understand that. But see, you need to bring order, and with that order, I'm talking about also you got to bring love, because they work hand in hand. Look at what it says in 1 Timothy. This is Paul speaking to Timothy. 1 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. This is the true saying. If a man desires the office of bishop, he desires good work. A bishop then must be blameless, a husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, giving to hospitality, and ready to teach. Not giving to wine, no strikers, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not brawler, not covetous, one that ruleth well his own house, having his children subjection with perfect, in other words, they're subject to rules, good rules, morals, and principles. Verse number 5, look at what it says. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the body of Messiah or Elohim? This stuff for all of you that has businesses. Everybody. Yeah. Including professionals.
Every business.
If you were to hire somebody to work for you, would you hire somebody that just came out of school and really had no experience, no experience at all? None, not even in their own personal lives? Or would you hire somebody that you know that they're ready and capable of doing what you need? Which one would you hire?
Second one.
Now, look at verse 6, what it says. Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he shall fall into the condemnation of devil. What does that mean? He says that he must not be a new convert, or he may develop a beclouded and stupid state of mind as the result of pride. See, this is the problem there's in homes today. Pride. Pride. Be blinded and conceive and fall into the condemnation that the devil once did. In Isaiah, you don't have to go there, Isaiah 14:12. Then he says, I will exalt my throne above the clouds of Yahweh. I will be like the Most High. I will sit on the side of the north of the congregation. And he says, I will be like the Most High. This is pride. In a home, and this can happen to a man or a woman, but most of the time it happens to men, because Yahweh has given them authority. Their pride takes over, their ego takes over, whether you're a man or a woman, in your home, and then what happens is, nothing will go okay. Because the more you are humble, the more he's going to raise you up. And you're not in that home as a husband or a wife, as children, to do as you please. I'm going to tell you a little story very quickly. There's too much happening today. And I don't have to let you know. I have to tell you because you have seen it everywhere. But I'm going to tell you a little story that my sister gave me this week. She works in a morgue. They brought this little girl that's 6 years old. Her butt was so red. I mean, red, red, red. She died. Red. And this is what happened. She didn't get raped or anything, but this is what happened. The mother needed to go to work. And this happened this week. And she left the child with her boyfriend. The little girl was painting her nails. She's 6 years old, painting her nails. So she saw a picture of her mother and her boyfriend in a picture. So she took the nail polish and she started scribble to the boyfriend in the picture. The boyfriend sees this. And he starts really hitting her in her butt, so hard that her butt was red. But that wasn't enough. I don't know, I can't remember exactly what, he didn't do. So what he did, she must have felt unconscious or something. He threw her on the floor, took his body, and started stamping on her. Oh, Maria, I don't want to hear this. Well, this is happening in homes today. So he decided that he killed her. He decided to put cold water because now he's going to revive her. Well, he killed her. Why am I bringing this? Because in homes, the ones that are getting more abuse are children. That's number one. The second ones that are getting really abused are women. And we have to understand what kind of homes do we want in this world. Do we want our homes to be a heaven or do we want our homes to be a hell? And the sad thing is that the ones that are really suffering the most are children, because children cannot defend themselves. Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine, please go with me to the book of Matthew chapter 7. Yeshua is speaking here. There are two houses. There's a house that's being built on what? Two houses. One that's being built on the foundations of rock and the other one's on sand. On Matthew chapter 7, verse 24. Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine, doeth them, and I will tell you who he will be. Will he be wise man that builds his house upon the rock? The rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon the house, and fell not. For it was founded on the rock. That's talking about founded on the foundations of the Torah, of Yahweh, of love, of understanding, of principles, and nothing. 26. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine, and do them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which builded his house upon the sand. Sand means anything goes. And the rains descended, and the strongholds, which are the floods, came, and the winds blew, and beat upon the house, and it fell, and the great was the fall of it. And came upon to pass, when he ended these sayings, the people were astonished of his doctrine, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes.
What does that mean, not as the scribes?
The scribes were the ones that interpret the law. The scribes were the ones that interpret the law. They wrote the law. They wrote the law. Okay? Yeshua came as authority. He spoke with authority. A family, I'm sorry, yes?
So the scribes were interpreting however they wanted.
They wrote it, yes.
Came in to say, this is it.
A family will master their victory through Yeshua HaMashiach, who will strengthen them. Most people look outside of their window and say, wow, the world is more corrupted today than any other time in history.
Yep.
They are correct on what they are saying, but why do they look outside in the world when the root problem begins inside of your home. Everything starts inside of your home, not outside in the world. Where does education start? Education does not start in school. It starts in your home. Principles, ethics, morals begins at home, not in the world. Family begins at home, not on the streets of the world. Prayer, commandment starts at home, not in school or in the world. The love of a family begins at home, not in the world. Hurt, pain, loneliness begin at home, not in the world. Wars begin with family cultures, differences, not in the world. Adultery, fornication, witchcraft, hatred, envy, murders, drunkenness starts at home in a family, not in the world. Remember, everything starts at home, not outside. Family, marriage, principle, values, love, morals, discipline, respect, education, manners, Elohim, and order starts at home. Home is where the heart is. Your home will always be the place for which you feel the deepest affection, no matter where you are. It takes hands to build a house, but only love builds a home. Do you believe that? Yes. Your home is wherever place you long to be. It's an attachment. It's a place you want to attach to. And this is for all of you that have children and are about to be grandparents and are grandparents. Ready for this? Love your children. Hug your children. Kiss them goodnight every night, no matter how old they are. Discuss how every person on earth has strengths and weaknesses, similarities and differences from each of us. Each of us may have been born in different countries and be different religion and nationalities, but we are all people and need to respect each other's every day. A world of only me's would be so boring. No one is better than the person across the country or across the world. Respect everyone, because everything starts at home. Learn to confidently teach your children about God, Elohim. Our children can grow up smart, athletic, popular, polite, but lack a vibrant relationship with Messiah. The few hours they spend in church each week can be helpful, but it cannot nurture a faith in our kids that will withstand the trials that are on the horizon. The body of Messiah, the church alone, cannot teach them. We must start at home, but many parents feel ill-equipped to develop the faith of their children. Spend quality time with each child. Spend quality time with your spouse, with your husband, with your wife. And teach them the biblical perspective of life, relationship, and marriage. A strong attachment to the place that you live results in greater satisfaction with your home and expectation of future stability in that place. And I said it again and I will say it again. In The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy does not achieve closure until she recognizes that there's no place like home. Have you recognized that there's no place like home?
Amen.
There's no place like a family. There's no place like a mother, like a father, like a husband, like a wife, like a grandparents. There's no place that when you go into a home, you can smell the aroma of what? Of what's cooking. Where in a home do most people go to? Family always go near to the kitchen. Always. It's not the bedroom, it's not the bathroom, it's the kitchen. And then comes the TV room. Or unless you're right next to the kitchen. Why is that? Because when you go into a home, then they're cooking. You smell the aroma. You feel the love. You feel that you belong in a place. You laugh. You have memories, good memories. Even though there's flaws in all of us. But there's no place like home. Amen. And this is what children that right now are in the orphanage, they wish they had and they don't have. And some of us, all of us have this. There are children right now that will cry and out loud, that will love to be in a home. Yep. So they can feel love. Yep. And we have this, and what are we doing with our homes? No wonder the Bible says, my people are perishing for lack of knowledge. And knowledge also is called lack of love. The greatest thing that we have is love. How do you view your family? How do you view your home? How important is your home to you? What are you doing right now to make your home better? To make a home that when people come there, they can feel the love, they can feel the joy and the laughter and the togetherness. How important is that to you? Most people today are dying. They want to work in not one job, in 3 jobs because they don't want to go home, because they don't feel it. The word home is more than a house. But how do we exactly determine the word home? For all people, home is the center of the world and a place of order. The contrast with the chaos of everywhere else in the world. When you think of your home, that you have your own bed. This is a home that you go to, you take a bath. You sleep, you watch TV, you eat. It's a home that you want to feel relaxed. You want to have peace and shalom. When asked to draw a picture of children everywhere in the world, where do they live? Children and adolescents worldwide immediately center their drawing around the home, making it anchor for everything else. This drawing that children do is called a heavenly language. There's not a child in the world, doesn't matter the culture, even those that don't have paper, they'll do it on the ground. They draw what? A house, a dog, a son, maybe a tree, and they draw their family, the father, the mother, and the children. What is that? That is called the heavenly language, because Hebrew literally was done in pictures. When we dream in pictures. It's called the heavenly language. Wow. This is called the heavenly language. Okay? Streets are public roads in the city and town, typically with houses and building on one or both sides. But in the streets, in the world, there's no morals. There's no principles, there's no love, there's no discipline, there's no respect, there's no God, there's no family, there's no marriage, there's no home, because there's no values. There's no order. There's no fear. There's a difference between a child fears his father or mother. Look at this. Look at the difference. Than when a child respects the mother or father. You want your children to respect you, to honor you, to reverence you, not to fear you because you're loudmouth and maybe you hit them. That's no. Listen very carefully. To reverence is to honor, respect, and give to Yeshua, King of the universe, the beginning, which says, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was Elohim. And the Word was Elohim. When you take the word, when you take the word, the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. When you take the word, fear. Let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Ready?
Uh-huh.
The word fear has four
Forward.
letters. And the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. The word here, fear, means reverence, respect. So these, okay, has four letters, correct?
Yes.
The word, in the beginning was the word, and the word was Elohim, and the word was Elohim, has four letters, correct? The word is Yeshua, the word also. Here Yahweh has how many letters?
4.
4. Okay? The word king, how many letters does it have?
4.
4. Now, why 4? Because there are 4 seasons. There are 4 dimensions and more, but let's talk about just 4. Right, left, up and down. There are 4 directions. North, south, east, and west. There are 4 levels of the Torah. What are the 4 levels? Pashat, Remes, then you got Derash, and then you have Sod. What's the difference? This is when we read the Bible and it's simple. This is when it gives you a hint. This is a parable, and this is the mystery. It reveals the mystery. Now, there are 4 levels of the moon. Okay? There are 4 elements. 4 elements. You have earth, wind, fire, and water. You have 4 divisions. Morning, noon, afternoon, and midnight. And then you have, look at this, 3, which is called divine perfection, okay? But then you have 1, which equals 4, and what is 1? Yahweh is 1. Okay? It says Yahweh Elohim, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh is 1. He is 1. So that gives you 4. Now, out of all this, when there is order in the house, my people lack for lack of knowledge. When there's order, okay, this is when Yahweh, the Elohim, the judge, reveals himself in the house.
You have to have order first?
Yes. And in a house, in a home, there cannot be 2 gods. Satan cannot rule your home, and God cannot rule your home at the same time. It's either got to be one or the other. Just like in the church. In the church, Yahweh cannot rule, and so can Satan. Either it's got to be one or the other. He reveals himself through creation. And I'm going to be done with this. When your children come in the house, and there's somebody in authority, in this case it's the man. And sometimes it could be a woman, because women right now are bringing up their children. So when there is authority figure, there's a judge, there's order. How do you stand when you're in the presence of a judge? How do you stand when you're in the presence of royalty?
You wear your best
How
clothes.
do you stand when you are in the presence of authority, of a judge? How? What happens when you're driving and you see a police car? You slow down.
You sit up straight when they pull you over.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Why? Because you don't want to get a ticket, because you're probably doing something wrong.
You
Oh
say,
my.
yes, sir, when they
Yes.
pull you over.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Because authority, judge, represents respect. That's what should be in our homes. respect, honor, and love, and abundance, and joy, and happiness. And the one that brings this is the husband and the wife. And if the husband doesn't bring it, the wife has to, I'm telling you, somebody has to do it. And most of the time, it should be the husband, the male. Most males, the male that is wise, they bring it. The male that is foolish, they have pride. Listen very carefully. This is why when we come in the presence of royalty, Yeshua HaMashiach is the Almighty King of Kings. How do we come to him? We come to him in humbleness. He says, come to me, be humble, and in due time I will lift you up. Okay? Humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of Elohim, that he may exalt you in due time. Ephesians 3:14. I don't know how important your home is to you, but it's very important to me.
Very important. Yeah.
And my husband.
Most important.
I don't know how many stars you give your home, but I'm telling you, my husband and I give it a really a 5. I don't know if there are more stars. A 5 like a hotel, like a 5-star hotel. Well, this is exactly what it is, because it's grace. It's very important. Our children, our grandchildren, our parents. It's very important. When we go in the car, and my father-in-law or my mother or my mother-in-law or anybody that's older than me, I sit in the back. And they sit in the front with my husband. Mm-hmm. Normally I sit next to my husband. But it's respect. And then there's another thing that a lot of young people don't do today. It's respecting the elderly. Mm-hmm. Do you know how much you can learn from elderly? Mm-hmm. That they can tell you how in their time was totally different. Pay attention to them. Love is very important. Now, look at what it says here on Ephesians chapter 3, verse 14 and 15. For this cause I bow my knees unto the Father of our Master Yeshua HaMashiach, of whom the whole family in heaven and earth is named, that he will grant you, according to the riches of his glory, to be strengthened with might by his Spirit in the inner man. Everything starts with inside. Family are precious threads no matter where we roam. They draw us close to those we love and pull our hearts back home. The prodigal son left the father and the brother. But when he came to himself, he says, there's no place like home. In my Father's home, I know I will have to eat. And what he was talking about the Torah. He was talking about the Word. There's no place like home. He came to himself and he says, I need to go to my Father's house. I don't know what your father has done to you or your mother has done to you. And I'm sure that we can sit down and we can talk about a lot of things. There's some of you that have been raped by your father and your mother, or maybe abused physically, maybe mentally, verbally. Let it go and forgive them. Oh, it's easier said than done. No, it's not, because you need to go on. There is no place like home in familiar surroundings. No matter how far you go, just like the prodigal son, you are always welcome at home, in your Father's house, in your own family. No matter whether you have tattooed yourself, whether you have shaved your head, whether you have pierced your ears, whatever has done, whether you have gone into alcoholism, whether you have been into drugs, whether you have prostituted, whether home is nowhere. There's nowhere like home. People will always love you in your home. No matter if we dress in black, even if we are Messianic believer, even if we are Sabbath keeper, even if you are Christian, even if you're Judaism, it does home. There's no place like home. You will always be loved at home. Memories are always cherished at home. Inspired along the way because the love we feel for us each time we get together. And for the years to come, because a family, listen very carefully, a family lasts forever. Do you believe this?
Yes.
How far back can you go to your family tree? Adam and Eve. Those were our first parents. For this cause, I bow my knees unto the Father, our King, Yeshua HaMashiach, of whom the whole family in heaven and earth is named. My question to you is this, and I got one verse to tell you. What have you learned from this? Has this touched you?
Amen.
Call someone from your family today and tell them how much you love him or her. Thank you for being part, and tell them, thank you for being part of my family. And say to them 3 words. I love you. Shalom Aleichem. Shavua Tov. Until next time.